Welcome to LFC Transfer Hub. Rio Ngumoha sparks Liverpool win over wasteful Fulham with first Anfield goal. At the end of a stormy week for Arne Slot, there was respite in the form of a morale-boosting display from Rio Ngumoha. Liverpool's 17-year-old winger marked his second Premier League start with an exquisite goal and a key role in the second from Mohamed Salah as the troubled champions celebrated a first league win since February. Liverpool seemed vulnerable after painful cup quarter-final defeats at Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain had intensified the pressure on Slot. The ingredients were in place for Anfield to turn toxic. Fulham never put that fragility to the test. Marco Silva's team were passive and limited in front of goal while Liverpool, re-energized by the virtuosity of Ngumoha, found the clinical touch and resolved to reach the landmark of 1,500 league wins at Anfield. It was only their second win in 6 games following a Champions League away trip this season and should restore some confidence before the daunting assignment against PSG on Tuesday. Ngumoha pressed his claims for inclusion from the start. He has a special quality that you don't see very often in football anymore, dominating the one-on-one, Slot said of his teenage game-changer. That was a Mo Salah finish. In training during the last month we saw he had more and more power to hit the ball like he did today. It was pleasing he did what we know makes him special. There were no flags on display on the Kop as part of protests against Liverpool's decision to increase most ticket prices for the next 3 seasons by the rate of inflation. The removal of imagery that the club and broadcasters love to promote, along with a flat atmosphere for the most part, were pointed demonstrations of what could happen to Anfield should Liverpool drive away their traditional fanbase in favor of the tourist economy. One banner reading, "No to ticket prices increases," was paraded along the front of the Kop in the 14th minute, followed by a chant that bluntly told Liverpool's owners where to stick their price rises. The contest mirrored the subdued environment until Ngumoha took it upon his gifted young self to enliven proceedings. Liverpool were sharper and more aggressive, Fulham sluggish, though Bernd Leno was not seriously troubled in the opening 35 minutes. Jeremy Frimpong provided Liverpool's most potent threat in the opening stages. His pass inside to Salah resulted in the first real chance of note, saved by Leno at his near post, before Liverpool's teenage winger changed the complexion of the entire evening with a superb opener. The referee, Anthony Taylor, played advantage after the Fulham midfielder Sander Berge wrestled Cody Gakpo to the ground. Florian Wirtz collected the loose ball and found Ngumoha on the left. The winger dazzled Timothy Castagny with a series of step-overs, turning the fullback one way and then the other, and curled a pristine finish around Joachim Andersen into the far corner. Ngumoha not only brought a drab game to life but created a slice of history in becoming Liverpool's youngest league goalscorer at Anfield, aged 17 years and 225 days. He took a 14-year record that had previously belonged to Raheem Sterling. The connection between Ngumoha, Wirtz and Salah improved instantly and offers Slot food for thought for the Champions League return against PSG. His decision to remove Wirtz and Ngumoha in the 68th minute may have been taken with the quarterfinal second leg in mind. "I think he's ready," said the head coach on the prospect of Ngumoha starting against the European champions. "The question is, can he do it again 2 days later, but would he be able to perform at that level? Yes." Unusually for Liverpool this season, they struck just as their opponents were growing into the game and capitalized on their momentum to establish a 2-goal cushion. The second came courtesy of a player at the opposite end of his Anfield career. Ngumoha was again instrumental as he confidently took on 3 Fulham players before clipping a pass into Gakpo. The Netherlands international turned the ball onto Salah, who swept a clinical finish of his own inside Leno's far corner. Silva made a double substitution at the break in an attempt to inject some aggression and quality into the Fulham performance. The introduction of Emile Smith-Rowe and Sasa Lukic brought some improvement, although Gakpo should have extended Liverpool's lead from Frimpong's immaculate cross early in the second half. The forward, who led the line with Hugo Ekitike and Alexander Isak on the bench, made a mess of the delivery. The one negative for Slot was the groin injury suffered by Curtis Jones that forced his half-time substitution and is likely to rule him out of the PSG game. Smith-Rowe should have also done better when found unmarked inside the Liverpool area by fellow substitute Ryan Sessegnon. The midfielder's first-time volley trickled wide of Georgi Mamardashvili's goal and Fulham never seriously threatened again. "The game was decided in 5 minutes and by our approach in the first half," said Silva. "We were not aggressive enough on or off the ball and allowed Liverpool to build up their attacks too easily." Second news is end of an era. UK media makes clear Liverpool declaration after Fulham win. A step in the right direction. Liverpool reignited its hopes of Champions League qualification with a 2-0 Premier League victory over Fulham on Saturday at Anfield. Teenage winger Rio Ngumoha broke the deadlock before playing a key role in Mohamed Salah's second goal, as the Reds tightened their hold on fifth place. They are 4 points ahead of Chelsea in sixth. The Blues face Manchester City on Sunday. It made for an uplifting 90 minutes amid what has been a difficult season. While Liverpool.com was present and provided its usual comprehensive coverage, here is how the national press assessed a welcome result for Arne Slot's side. Joyce wrote in the Times, "With every passing week a different legend, whether it is Mohamed Salah or Andrew Robertson, appears to be confirming the end of an era at Liverpool. The consolation here was that at least one member of the next generation stood up to offer promise for the future. A flurry of stepovers and the fearlessness of youth allowed Rio Ngumoha to pep the belief of those around him just when they needed it and inspire Liverpool to a first Premier League victory since late February." Hunter focused on the protests against Liverpool's increase in ticket prices in his piece. He wrote in The Guardian, "There were no flags on display on the Kop as part of protests against Liverpool's decision to increase most ticket prices for the next 3 seasons by the rate of inflation. Removal of imagery that the club and broadcasters love to promote, along with a flat atmosphere for the most part, were pointed demonstrations of what could happen to Anfield should Liverpool drive away their traditional fanbase in favor of the tourist economy." One banner reading "No to ticket prices increases" was paraded along the front of the Kop in the 14th minute, followed by a chant that bluntly told Liverpool's owners where to stick their price rises. Jolly wrote in The Independent, "Even as eras draw to close, others can start. If it is the beginning of the end for Mohamed Salah, it might be the beginning of something wonderful for Rio Ngumoha." Liverpool's scorers in defeating Fulham were 33 and 17, one almost double the age of the other, the older man soon to be the past, the younger boy looking very much the future. As the farewell to Salah grows nearer, but the introduction to Ngumoha shows there should be life in the forward line after the legend. On Salah's first appearance at Anfield since he announced his departure, he was serenaded almost from the off. Andy Robertson, another of Jurgen Klopp's great team who is heading for the exit, was hailed first, and the Egyptian king earned a further rendition of his song with his 256th Liverpool goal.